Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Shawna's Corner. Tonight, I want to talk to you about Prissy's interview with Piers Morgan. Yes, indeedy. A lot of people have already been talking about this, and one of the most funniest, awesome ones that I've heard so far had to have been Danny Smith from Memphis Mafia Kid. That was the best one. He let things out, that you can tell he's been holding in for a long time. So, and also Elvis Fans Matter channel with Billy Smith. They both let some things out too. So that's really good. But tonight I want to go over that interview, and I'm also going to throw in there some leaked emails from Lisa Marie. So stick with me, guys, and I'll set you straight. But anyways, I've got 16 pages to go through of this hour interview. It's just crazy how in my notebook I have 16 pages worth for just 1 hour interview with this lady. So that's yeah. But it was fun dissecting some of this stuff. It's always fun. Anyways, just remember that this show, as all shows, are for entertainment purposes only. Okay, don't take what I say literally. Do your own homework and research. I have. So you guys do your own research and you guys can come up with your own conclusion. All right? So that's basically what I say with every show like this. So come up with your own conclusion, do your own research, but I have. So here we go. And one more thing. The graphics is made by Tanya Jenkins, so give her a little shout out for me. She does great work. Okay? And know that I'm missing Rhonda. But we will do our Two Gals Talk About Elvis show on Tuesday night, okay? And we're going to finish Vernon's Last Will and Testament for you guys, to see where the money trail is going. I did get a comment a while back about why do shows about people that pass wills. It's old news. And it's like, no, do you know what's in those wills? Y'all might not even know what's in them. I have learned a lot in these last few shows that I've done with Rhonda, reading these wills. What really went down, it's in the will. Follow the money. That's what you do. That's what you do. Also, I just want to take something back that I said in the last show that I did. I went over Navarone being live with Growing Up Scientology, Aaron. And I said in an ignorant way, because I was not aware, I did say that Navarone was of Spanish descent. I was wrong. Brazilian is Portuguese. So Navarone is Portuguese descent, not Spanish. So thanks to the person that pointed it out to me. I appreciate it. I like to be able to correct myself. I do have a little bit of humbleness inside of me. All right. I learned from the best humble guy I've ever studied. If you make a mistake, own it, apologize, and go forward. So that's what I did. So he's Portuguese. All right, so let me get started here. This is how it starts for me. Excuse me. Prissy says it's been pretty tough. Lost her mom, her grandson, and her daughter. So she has had good days and bad days. Difficult waking up and not having a phone call from her daughter. Well, from what I've heard, they weren't on speaking terms for 8 years. Why would she have a phone call from her daughter when she got up? That's just my opinion, okay, guys? She should be used to it, really. If she hadn't had that kind of phone calls, that kind of closeness, she would have been used to it by now, not having those phone calls. So that part of the interview was just iffy to me. All right. Um, her acting, I think, got better. She was happy at her standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival for the movie. She said she was also happy for Sophia that got the standing ovation. So she's very happy about the movie that got made. You know, there's no doubt about it. But here's the thing. I don't know how she could be happy about this movie, because here are the story about the leaked emails. I'm going to read it to you. Okay. Sofia Coppola's Priscilla, which makes the life of Priscilla Presley and her complex relationship with Elvis Presley, has been contentious since the film was announced. This week, Variety reported that before her death this year, Elvis and Priscilla's daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, sent Coppola emails expressing her disapproval of the way her father is portrayed in the movie, based on the scripts she reviewed. Lisa Marie asked Coppola to revise her father's depiction in the movie for the sake of her family, calling the script shockingly vengeful and contemptuous. Priscilla follows the relationship between Elvis and Priscilla, which started when she was 14 and he was 24. The film is based on Priscilla Presley's 1985 memoir, Elvis and Me, and received her co-sign. That's very difficult. It's very difficult, she says, to watch a film about you, about your life, and about your love. Priscilla said at the news conference for the film during the Venice Film Festival, adding that Coppola did an amazing job, but the emails from Lisa Marie to Coppola made it clear that not everyone in the Presley family was on board. According to Variety, in one email sent in September 2022, before the movie began filming, Lisa Marie wrote, "My father comes only across as a predator and manipulative. As his daughter, I don't read this and see any of my father in this character. I don't read this and see my mother's perspective of my father. I read this and see your shockingly vengeful and contemptuous perspective, and I don't understand why." She warned that she would speak out against the project and her mother, who supported the film. "I will be forced to be in a position where I will have to openly say how I feel about this film, and I will go against you, my mother, and this film publicly." In response, Coppola said she hoped Lisa Marie would change her mind after she got to see the final cut of the film. "I hope that when you see the film, you will feel differently and understand I am taking a great care honoring your mother, while also presenting your father with sensitivity and complexity." And an unnamed source told Variety that the time filming began in October 2022, about 10 pages were cut from the original script. Lisa Marie said she was worried that she was feeling protective of her mother and was worried that Priscilla wouldn't understand the intentions behind this film or the outcome it will have. The emails revealed in Variety as Priscilla opens in theaters November 3rd, highlighting the complicated connection between the movie and the Presley estate. Just a few weeks after Lisa Marie's death, January 2023, Priscilla asked a judge to confirm that she was a trustee of her late daughter's estate. In 2016, documents showed that Priscilla and Barry Siegel, her daughter's former manager, who she sued for $100 million for mismanaging her finances, were removed from her will as co-trustees. They were replaced by Lisa Marie's two children, Riley and Benjamin Keogh. Benjamin Keogh, who died by suicide July 2020. In May, the legal dispute was settled out of court. Riley Keogh then asked to be made the sole trustee of her mother's estate. In August, the court approved Lisa Marie's daughter's petition on Wednesday. The two reached a settlement which sees Priscilla getting $1 million lump sum payment from Lisa Marie's $25 million life insurance policy and $100,000 a year for her role as special advisor to her to Riley from and of the Promenade Trust related to its shareholder interest in Elvis Presley Enterprises, a non-fiduciary role. But the ensuing legal drama made it seem like there was a rift between grandmother and granddaughter. But both Priscilla and Riley have dispelled those rumors in multiple quotes to the press. Priscilla said in an interview that she and Riley were on good terms and explained that the matter of power over one's estate is not something to fool around with. Riley echoed that statement to Vanity Fair, saying, "Anything that would suggest otherwise in the press makes me sad, because at the end of the day, all she wants is to love and protect Graceland and the Presley family and the legacy." That's a lot to read. I don't know. There's some things that I think she's not even saying. But anyways, that's what those are some of the words that Lisa was stressing to Coppola about this movie, Priscilla. She was stressing to this lady, please do not do this movie like this. You know, my mother doesn't know what she's doing. Please don't do this, you know. And it was on deaf ears. Coppola didn't want to hear what Lisa Marie was pouring her heart out to her with. She didn't care. She wanted to make a movie. She wanted to make a controversial movie, and she wanted to do it as fast as possible while the Elvis movie excitement was still in the air from the last Elvis movie, because it did great. As they say, get it while it's hot, right? Let's see. Prissy said that it's hard to share intimate, private details, but she said it's hard to share intimate and private details about Elvis, but she did in her memoir, Elvis and Me, in 1985, and now she's doing it again. So it's so hard to share. She shares an awful lot, you know, and then some nowadays. New stuff nowadays. But she also said that Elvis would call her parents on weekends and ask them for visits from Prissy to go see him. Well, in her book, it was like every night on a weeknight, well, a school night. She complained it was school night. She complained she never got any sleep because she would always see Elvis on a school night, and that she sometimes didn't get home till 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and she would pass out during classes. Go back to her book, guys. It completely contradicts what she says in her book. Elvis didn't wait to see her on the weekends. Elvis saw her on weeknights, which was affecting her schoolwork and her life, actually. That's a 14-year-old. They need their sleep. Don't you think? They need their sleep. But that's just what I got from that. Plus, she kind of changes the wording of what Elvis used to always say. And Larry Geller said it like this. Elvis told him one time, "Why me? Why, out of all of these people, that God would just pluck me and make me Elvis Presley, make me the superstar I am? Why me? Why would God pick me out of everybody? Why me?" But in the interview, you hear Prissy going, "Why is he drawn to me? Why is he asking my parents if I can visit him? Why me? Why is it me going in the gates of Graceland? Why? Why did he choose me?" So it kind of sounded like a similarity between what Elvis used to say, and what now she's saying. It kind of made me a little bit, it's just similarities. Just that's what it made me feel like. Okay. She claims that she was the listener. That's why he was drawn to her. I was the listener. I would listen. I would listen to him. Well, the thing is, if you listen to someone long enough, you can study that person. and you can learn everything there is to know about that person, their likes, their dislikes, their moods, their triggers, everything. You can study a person just by observing them and listening and nothing else. And that's what she was, a listener. She claims that he trusted her more than anyone because she was a listener, and she never betrayed him by telling others that she was dating him in Germany. But if you go to the book Child Bride and you think about things, according to the circle that she ran around in Germany, she told everybody she was dating Elvis. Yeah. So her ex-boyfriend from Germany, Ron Tapp, he died a few years ago, but his son is still alive, and he's on Facebook, and he answers questions if you ask him. But his father told him pretty much everything. So according to him, he knew that she was dating Elvis too. So she told people. To this day, she still has secrets about Elvis that she won't give up. Okay, lady. Okay. Piers Morgan then looked at her and said, "What do you say about people calling Elvis a groomer after watching your movie?" And she says the same thing we all say. It was a different time back then. You know, it's not like it is now. That's what she said. But we've been saying this too. It was a different time back then. You know, the new generation is the generation that's not going to understand this. You know, it's not us that she has to explain all this to. It's the newer generation, probably like the twins age, 15 and up to probably 25, 30. She'll have to explain this stuff too. Then she goes on about saying that Elvis had his challenges and he was the first big superstar, and his pressures and turmoils were because of that. Morgan, too, agreed. Then she said he hated all of his movies, but the last two, which isn't right, really. She said that, excuse me, she then said that Elvis hated all of his movies, but the first two, which isn't right. Okay, Elvis's first 4 movies were Love Me Tender, Jailhouse Rock, Loving You, and King Creole. Okay? Love Me Tender, he enjoyed. It was his first movie. Okay? Jailhouse Rock, he did not enjoy after he filmed it. He liked filming it, but after he filmed it, his co-star, Judy Tyler, was in a horrible car accident, which made him never want to watch that movie again because he had to see her, and he really cared for Judy. So, okay, he quit watching that one. So that's not the first two because he enjoyed Love Me Tender. The next one was Loving You, which he enjoyed being in, but then again, his mama died in 1958, and the movie was done in 57, and he couldn't watch Loving You anymore because his mama was in the audience in the last scene of the movie. Then there was that Rebel Without a Cause movie that was most awesome. That's my favorite and my mama's favorite, King Creole. So in reality, she was wrong. He liked 2 of his movies, yes, but it wasn't the first 2 movies. It was the first movie and the last movie before he went into the army. From what I hear of it, Elvis had creative control during these 4 first movies. After he got back out of the army and back into the movie scene, he had no creative control whatsoever after that. It was gone. It's like Hal Wallace in the studio just didn't want him to be creative. They wanted the same formula every time. That's why he hated them after that. And the soundtracks to him were just trash. But anyway, I wanted to put that out to you guys. She also says it was also hard to watch. Excuse me. Hold on, I already read that. She claims that she never had a problem with the Colonel, which is so right, because that's something true she actually is saying. Prissy always liked the Colonel. She didn't have a problem with the Colonel. In fact, in the early times after Elvis said adios, bye-bye to the world and left and died, guess what? She became friends with the Colonel. There's actually a picture of Navarone in the Colonel's lap when he was like 5 or 6 years old. So she had a relationship with the Colonel. And see, even when the lawyers took the Colonel to court on Lisa Marie's behalf and EPE to get what the Colonel had because he took too much from Elvis, he still remained friends with Prissy, and Prissy still remained friends with him, even after that court hearing and legal lawsuit. So that tells you something, too. Morgan asks her, was Elvis a controlling influence on you? And she says, I don't think it was controlling. I never thought it would be being controlling. No, the only thing that I could think of is when he would appear in Vegas and when he would say, you know, you can come on the weekend. I had my daughter at the time, Lisa, so I don't like leaving her. I had a nanny, yes. Granted, when she talks, she says a lot in this interview. But he would say, well then, why don't you just come on the weekends? Oh, you know, pick another time, because I was concerned about leaving my daughter. What happened to Lisa being their daughter, not her daughter? You know, she said that a couple of times too. He felt Vegas wasn't a place for children. Well, Miss Prissy, Happy Valley School wasn't a good place for children where you put Lisa either. I had to throw that in there. She claims her first visit to Graceland was June 1963, when she was 17. What happened to Christmas of 62, guys? She went to Christmas there in 62. She would have been there first in Christmas of 62. Yet she looks Morgan in the eyes and she says, I visited Graceland. It was June of 63. What, lady? I mean, anyway, she claims that she's still friends with Patsy Presley Gamble, which, you know, is Elvis's first cousin. We all know that probably isn't true right now, but do your own research, but I don't think it is. She also claims life started when Elvis came home. It didn't matter where he was. It was a lonely and sad place without him. But when he came home, that's when life started. I do agree with that. I will give her that one. She also says there are times he came around and say, damn, I'm good looking man. If he would look at himself in the mirror and stuff. Now that's a cute little story. My oldest brother still does that to this day. He can't cross a mirror without going, damn, I'm a nice looking man. Well, according to Prissy, Elvis would do that too. And it's like, what happened to that humble boy from Tupelo? You know, what happened to him? But anyways, that was a new story that no one's ever heard of before. I think she's plucking them out of her head. I don't know. They're new stories no one's ever heard before after 46 years, right? Morgan, was Elvis a good father? Here's Prissy, what she says. He was as good a father as he could be, you know. He was never around children, and, you know, it was, you know, just him growing up. So he honestly, when she was smaller, he didn't know what to do with her. But as she got older, she could travel to visit him and be with him. And for at least 2 weeks, you know, when she was at Christmas or Easter or holidays or something, she would visit. Then he became closer to her. She claims, Lisa, yeah, but if you guys do your research, Elvis had small cousins. He had girlfriends who had smaller siblings. He's been in movies with babies and children before. So it was funny when she said he was never around children. He had been around children before. You know, there's lots of stories about him holding other people's babies that weren't his when he was younger. You know, so I don't know. It's just weird. Then here's another one that's crazy. She claims that August 16th, 1977, that Lisa Marie was with her that day. And she had to tell Lisa that instead of saying her father is dead, she had to say, your father is asleep. He's just sleeping for right now. That puts a hole in the Lisa story where she called Linda, my daddy's dead. My daddy's dead. Linda, my daddy's dead. So, So here's the thing. We all know Lisa Marie was at Graceland the day Elvis died. So, that puts a hole in that story completely. She wasn't with Priscilla. Priscilla had to fly in. And Lisa already knew her daddy was dead. She was already acting very grieving and unusual behavior because she was grieving. I mean, she didn't know how to take it. She's 9. You know, my son is 9 years old right now. I don't know how he would take it. You know, I mean, when you're a child, it's all different, you know. But that had to be really confusing to her. She's knowing her in her head her father is dead, but Priscilla's telling her, he's sleeping. He's just sleeping. He's sleeping for now. You know. But that doesn't make sense to me. It's a little off. And then she claims that after I told Lisa that Elvis was sleeping, she just got on the golf cart with her girlfriend and just drove and drove and drove. No, honey, she's trying to deal with her grief. Why didn't you stop pretending to be the widow for that day that you were not? My opinion. And grieve this baby that needs their mother. They just lost their dad, the most important person in her life. It just bothers me how that went down, guys. She claims that she loves him even still today. Of course, at 26 minutes through, she mentions how Elvis wondered why him too. So yeah, you can see how she just ripped it off of what he said. Prissy talks about Elvis's kindness and generosity, and sad to me how she didn't learn that from him. Oh, she talks about his kindness, his charity, his generosity. But over the years, have you seen any of these aspects in her? Does she ever give anything away? Just a thought. Plus, Prissy claims that he called her after the divorce, and he would do it whenever he needed to talk to her, that he would go into his bathroom so that the woman that he was with at the time wouldn't hear him talking to Priscilla. And then she says, I've never shared that before. Really? Honestly? She claims they talked all the time, and he would go in private because, you know, he didn't want the girl he was with to listen. You guys come up with your own conclusions on that. And plus the fact, I never shared that story with anyone before. Yeah, I think I know why. Morgan asked, when was the last conversation that she had with him? And Prissy says, Elvis called because Lisa needed to come home because school was about to start. Shaking my head, guys. Didn't she just say earlier that Lisa Marie was with her on August 16th, 1977? And now she's backtracking in this and saying that Lisa was with her father and that he called to remind her that she has to come home, make arrangements. She was in Memphis. So that's, like I said, she got caught, and she got caught again, and she keeps getting caught. But the one thing that bothers me throughout this whole interview, it's like Piers Morgan is kissing her ass so high up that he doesn't see straight. That he did not do his homework before he even did this interview. That this whole interview is just a way of wiping her ass to cover up this movie, to help with this movie. That's what I think, guys, okay? You guys come up with your own conclusion. But that's what I think, okay? It just doesn't bode well with me, some of this stuff. I just think Morgan is wiping her butt, and he's doing it throughout this whole interview. And he didn't do any of the research and ask her the tough questions that needed to be asked, you know. Just, it was just sugar-coating job throughout this whole thing. And that's so far my opinion on it, all right? He asked her what her favorite Elvis song is. She goes, Memories, which is suiting. Claims that love is still there, that the love is still there, that he is the love of her life, that she still loves him, and that she wants to be buried next. You know, she just said basically he's the love of her life, and she still feels that way to this very day. And I'm like, excuse me, according to the movie and your book, how do you claim that he's the love of your life, him being your abuser? Because that's what the book and the movie is portraying, is Elvis as a groomer and an abuser. So which is it, Prissy? Elvis being the love of your life, or Elvis being the abuser and a groomer that you portray him to be in your story? Not in your story. It's just that really gets me right there. Not many abusers want to be buried next to their, not many victims, excuse me, not many victims, I don't know of any that would want to be buried next to their abuser. Not many victims would claim that their abuser is the love of their life. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all messed up to me. Okay. It just seems to me she's trying to sugarcoat her own movie. Well, then why bring it out if you have to sugarcoat it, honey? Is it a donut shop? Got to sugarcoat things. You know, it's her own story. Why she gotta do that? You know, my opinion, it's just all weird. She claims wherever she goes, people will just often just like for her. Bravo. Okay, lady. Okay. But I must admit, though, she does have her followers. She does have her minions. She does have the people that don't know Elvis's history. She does have those people. But there are not as many on her camp as there is on our camp, which are true Elvis fans and lovers of Elvis. No. She has hers, but not as many as we are. There's more of us real true Elvis fans than there is these Prissy lovers. So we're good on that front. Morgan also claimed she was American royalty, even still. Really? Okay, whatever, Morgan. Whatever. He seems like an ass kisser to me. I mean, seriously, he kissed her ass. He's been kissing it throughout this whole show so far. Prissy said that Lisa didn't look well that night of the Golden Globes. Well, then why didn't you tell her, go to the doctor? Why didn't you try to intervene? She claimed Danny called her and said that Lisa was in the hospital, and by the time she got Lisa, was gone. Okay, folks, but the timeline on her wall where she posted an Instagram on her Twitter account says to pray for Lisa, and that was, look at the timestamp. It don't add up to me. You go find the timeline for yourself, come up with your own conclusions, but personally, I don't believe she was dead and gone when her mother got there. She said that she didn't see or talk to her because Lisa was already gone, which means she didn't talk to Lisa. She didn't see Lisa in the hospital at all. That's what she said. And it's still sensitive because, like I said, and I keep saying, since Lisa died, I have had a bad taste in my mouth ever since, and I can't get rid of it. Morgan says something else which gets me. Morgan goes, given your closeness to Lisa, gag, and what you've been through as a family, it must have been unbearable to lose Lisa. And Prissy says, I lost my mother, I lost my grandson, and I lost my daughter. And losing Ben was the hardest thing for Lisa, losing Ben, because he took his own life. Morgan added, Prissy, yes, that's right, he took his own life. And Prissy goes, and he was the love of her life, that child. She adored him. She'd do anything for him, anything. And then claims that Lisa told her after Ben's death that she don't know if she wants to stay on this earth without him anymore. But she said the twins were too young, being about 13 at the time. So basically, Prissy claims in this interview that Priscilla was contemplating suicide for the loss of Ben. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it. She had even said with her grief counseling and her post that she did have, it was hard for her, but she said, I have to go forward for my children. I have to go forward for the girls. So seeing her being the lioness that she is, I would know that she would want to stay here to help guide her daughters. That's my opinion. Now it's time to turn the cameras off, because right at that moment, turn the cameras off. I'm getting so emotional. Now, there are no tears. I mean, she quits doing it for a minute after it gets calmed down, and there's no moisture. So you guys come up with your own conclusion, but I think she got better at acting. Except she needs to learn how to cry, like literally. There needs to be some tears going down, okay? But that's just my opinion, all right? Anyways, she also claims that she was always honest with Lisa throughout her whole life. Was she? Was she? Come up with your own conclusions on that one. She also says that when Lisa was married to Michael Jackson, that he was fearful of her. That's right. Prissy tells Morgan that Michael Jackson was afraid of her, and that when he saw Prissy, he would hide. She talks about the lawsuit after Lisa died. She claims she never read Riley's Vanity Fair interview, praising her as a grandmother. Oh, I might cry again. That is just so wonderful. My granddaughter thinks that. Claims that the press started the drama, that her and Riley are very close, says Riley will be great and wants to help her with Graceland. Yeah, for $100,000 a year, and for the $1 million cut she got. Riley is so talented, she says, and Ben was too. Prissy wants to advise Riley about Elvis and his history. She also says that she will be buried at Graceland. Prissy wants to be, and it will happen. And Piers Morgan agreed and said it needs to happen. Wow. Prissy trusts Riley with everything, she says. Of course, Morgan had to remind the audience it was Prissy that saved Graceland, because it's the narrative she's been orchestrating for herself for these 46 years. When us Elvis fact-checking fans know the real truth of who saved Graceland, the wheel was already turning before Prissy even got involved, because she loves to take the credit for other people's work. What made me really sick at the end of this interview is when Piers Morgan reads what Riley thinks of Lisa Marie being her mom. It's beautiful and heartfelt. Then he looks at Priscilla and goes, I could say the same thing about you, being fierce, lioness, a great mother, protecting her cubs, yada, yada, yada. I about threw up then. I'm so glad that was the end of the interview. And that's all I've got. Now, if you guys have any other things to say about the interview that I missed or didn't go over, please let me know in the comments section below. But that's all I got. And that was enough, because I'm literally still sick to my stomach after watching it. Okay? Really, I am kind of sick to my stomach after watching that, because I know with research and what I have found out throughout the years that a lot of that was not true. I know if you take her book, Elvis and Me, and you fact check it to some of the things that she says and to Piers Morgan, that you know what went down. She likes to contradict what she says. Says one thing, and then 10 years later says another completely different thing that she just takes in her head. But that's Prissy, and that's her personality, guys. But I'm not a shrink, and I don't have time to shrink her head to figure her out, and I've got my own life to lead. You know what I'm saying? But finding out what was real and what wasn't real was fun for me. I hope you found it entertaining and enjoyable. I know I did for a little bit there, but towards the end of the interview, I just felt like sick to my stomach, you know. As I said before, watch Danny Smith's video in Memphis Mafia Kid, and you'll learn what his truth is about what he thought about her interview. And that's pretty much it, guys. As I said before, Rhonda and I will be back with you Tuesday night with two gals talk about Elvis when we go over Vernon Presley's will. We're finishing it anyway, but I'm thinking about anything else. I just hope you enjoy these Shawna corners. I will try my best to get more out there for you guys. I do this for my rants, my little soapbox when I'm not happy. And when I watched Priscilla's interview, I wasn't happy. So, of course, I'm going to come on Shawna's Corner to tell you how I feel. But I hope that you guys enjoyed it. But I'll be back with you guys in a few days with more and then more, because we ain't going nowhere, guys. TCBTLC. God bless y'all. And you know what? I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye, everybody.